Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. In our reading today, both in the Old Testament and the New Testament, we have opportunity to kind of reflect on what we're doing here in our daily encounter and what we have been doing for several years now. And the first is found, of course, in the Old Testament reading in Psalm 1, where it talks about meditating on God's word. And it's put in contrast to walking in the counsel of the wicked, standing in the path of sinners, and sitting in the seat of scoffers. Instead of listening to what the wicked have to say and listening to them and walking, or in other words, ordering our lives according to that, or standing in the path of sinners, stationing ourselves there with sinners and just taking our stand with them, or even sitting in the seat of scoffers. That is positioning our lives and seating ourselves among those who would scoff at Christianity and scoff at the things of God. We meditate on God's word and make God's word a priority in our lives. And so Psalm 1 really helps us to remember that our lives should be about meditating on God's word, not just reading it, but meditating on it. And he would say that that's really the only way to have a really established life, because to do so would be like a tree that's planted firmly by the waters, and one that where its leaf does not wither, bears its fruit in its season, and whatever he does, he prospers. Just having a ready resource of life and refreshment is found whenever we are meditating on God's word and meeting it and contacting it often, as we're doing here on our daily encounter, as we encounter it every day. But in our New Testament reading, we have the Bereans, who are a good example too of people who were in God's word and made God's word a priority. He talks about the Bereans in Acts 17 and verse 11, where it says, "Now these were more noble-minded than those in Thessalonica, for they received the word with great eagerness, examining the scriptures daily to see whether these things were so." So they received the word with eagerness. And I think that would help us as we daily get into the word in our daily encounter, to do it with eagerness. Not like, well, I just got to knock out my reading today, I need to get it done so I don't fall behind, but really looking forward to getting into God's word, reading what it has to say, and having a chance to reflect on it and meditate on it would help us to have a better experience as we continue through God's word. And then examining the scriptures daily to see whether these things were so. And again, this goes back to our daily encounter. Daily, we're getting into God's word. We're studying God's word and examining God's word and seeing what things we can draw from the word and make application to it in our lives. So as we do our reading today, we're kind of in the midpoint, roughly in the midpoint of our reading, roughly in the midpoint of the year. And it gives us an opportunity again to reflect on, why are we doing this? Why are we going through God's word and following a program, a year-long program, and contacting God's word on a daily basis? It's so that we can have the stability that God's word brings as we meditate on it. It's so that we can examine the scriptures to understand it better, and then ultimately to have that worked out in our lives and make application from that. So let's think about those things today, guys, as we do our reading today. With that, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys.